The Fake Baseball Podcast is brought to you by SalaryCapSports.com. Enjoy fantasy baseball and want to give a new format a try? SalaryCapSports.com has got you covered. It's free and you can win cash prizes. Start with $50 million and build the best team you can before opening day gets here. After you've built your squad, you get 4 trades a week to buy and sell players, maximize the value of your team, score points, compete against other contestants, and at the very end, compete for free cash prizes. Sign up now and play for free at SalaryCapSports.com. That's SalaryCapSports.com. What is up, everybody? It is Wednesday. Baseball is happening. There is a large group of you guys in the live feed. So what up to everybody here right now? This is crazy. We appreciate y'all stopping by. What are the chances?
Snap my head
right
up and
when
see
we
what's
go
happening.
to go
My
live?
goodness.
Hey, it keeps running up. What up, everybody? But what are the chances right when we go live for this episode? I mean, it is Blake Meyer, Dylan Lydell. This is the Fake Baseball Podcast. But Dylan Cease, the man from Chicago, has been officially traded to the San Diego Padres. As of right this second, I cannot tell you what the Padres got in return.
It's not popping up.
Jesus, I can't tell you what the White Sox got in return. I can tell you what the Padres got in return, but I don't know what the White Sox got in return. It's got to be a decent little haul because it seems like the Chicago White Sox were asking for the moon for the longest time for Dylan Cease. But I mean, Dylan to Dylan, I got to get your insider info on this. In terms of fantasy baseball or just baseball value in general, what do you think this does for Dylan Cease and his value for 2024?
Yeah, we just talked about it a little bit before hitting live. This is about as good a spot as he could have gone to. I don't think Yankees would have been as beneficial to him. Who was the other team? The Yankees, the Padres were in
for
it
a little bit.
No, yeah, there was 3 finalist teams that got announced today. Go back and find. I don't know, whatever the third team was. But yeah, just Padres is a pitcher's park, and when you go to a place like that, it's a good team, not as good as last year. Losing Juan Soto is a big loss, but yeah, I think this is a great ad by the Padres. We'll see what the compensation looks like, but yeah, there's few parks better to pitch in than San Diego.
Yeah, and Dylan Cease is kind of been polarizing in the fantasy baseball world, at least for the last 2 years.
Trying to see what's happening.
At F5, see what's happening. He's been kind of polarizing just because he was so good back in 2021, 2022. He had those elite strikeout numbers. 2022, he had the 2.2 ERA to go with an 11 K9, which is crazy. 184 innings. And then in 2023, he kind of fell back to earth. 4.58 ERA. His walk rate, I mean, it jumped up to what did it jump up to? 10%. It was 10% the year prior. I left him with a 17% K minus walk rate, which isn't half bad. Like, I don't hate a 17% K minus walk rate. I kind of like a 17% K minus walk rate, though, when it's accompanied by just a walk rate in general that's under 10%. Because walking 10% of batters is a lot. But he does a great job of missing bats just in general. I know they're using Swords. What the hell? They're using Swords now as an actual stat from Pitcher List himself. And Dylan Cease led all pitchers in baseball last year in Swords by quite a bit, if I remember correctly. He's just so good. And moving to Petco Park, like you mentioned, it is a very pitcher-friendly park. Very pitcher-friendly park. I think it's the second most pitcher-friendly park in baseball outside of T-Mobile Park in Seattle. It's a reason why on this podcast we love Michael King so much this year, because there's something to be said about just how much a great home park can add a ton of value to a player. And when you have somewhere you're playing now that is more beneficial to you than your prior park, You have at least a decent defense behind you. That has kind of yet to be seen. I know they just named Jackson Merrill as their starting center fielder. And before spring training, he'd never played the outfield before. So I don't know how that's going to go like from opening day. We'll have to see how that plays out. But he'll have at least a decent defense behind him. And he's going to miss a ton of at-bats. So as far as this season goes, I think I'm going to bump Dylan Cease up a little bit in my rankings. Not a ton yet, but I think I had him just outside the top 30 starting pitchers. I think I can confidently say I'll probably put him right inside the top 30, maybe 29, 28, right around there for starting pitchers this year, just because I do love the new ballpark.
Yeah.
And he's better run support in San Diego too, which even if he's going to carry that.
That's right. It's a better lineup than Chicago is, no doubt. I'm trying to pull up the compensation still. There's really no updates yet, but I don't know if it was a spoof or not. What if the young Padres catchers in the deal? Young and 17-year-old.
Oh, Ethan Salas?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know if that was a troll, but that was like the first name I saw mentioned. That would be nuts.
That would
Rangers.
Be really
that was
crazy.
the other
Ethan
team.
Salas.
Yeah, it was the Rangers.
The Rangers? Oh, there we go.
That was the third team.
Shout out Uncle Ted. Coming in clutch as always. What did he say? San Diego way overpaid for Soto. I bet they destroyed their farm for Cease. I mean,
how much longer did Cease have on his deal? Was it just this year and next year?
Yeah, I think he had still at least 2 years of team control left.
Yeah, that's what I thought I remembered.
He had a little bit of time. But yeah, man, what a crazy trade to happen today. There was kind of rumblings that it was going to happen eventually. But those rumblings have been going since the offseason started. Dylan Cease was probably one of, if not the number one named pitcher that was up for trade. He was the second most talked about pitcher being up for trade. Didn't know where he was going to go. I thought for a minute there's a legitimate chance he was going to end up in Seattle. There were like serious rumblings about Seattle trying to make that trade. I'm kind of glad they didn't. Uncle Ted said Abrams, Wood, and Gore for a year and a half of Soto was nuts. Absolutely nuts. Just Abrams alone is crazy. Wood is tearing the cover off the ball. He's somebody that we both love deeper in drafts too. So,
I mean, yeah. And when you deal that type of capital, you have to lock it up. You don't just get 2 season and a half, whatever it was. How long was he there? Not that long.
A half a season or a year.
Half a season and a half, right? Trade deadline. And then played that season.
Yep.
Full, yeah. No, you got to lock them up
out.
if you're giving up that much.
Oh, and okay. So while we have over 200 people in the live stream right now, I just want to let you guys know something that we have doing starting last episode is on my desk in front of me. I have way too many sports cards that need a new home. So I have been giving away sports cards to somebody in the live stream. There is a very large amount of you. If you would like to be entered into this live stream, all you need to do is one of 2 things. Well, 3 things, I guess. First one is be here right now. Second would be like the stream on whatever platform you are watching right now. We are currently live on Facebook, X, and YouTube. Or leave a comment. Or whatever you want to do. Or leave a comment. There's some way that I can track who is here. And then today we are going to give away Oswaldo Cabrera, Topps Chrome Black rookie card, green wave out of 99, and a little Evan Carter Top Silver Pack Mojo.
Oh, that's a
rookie. Just a little something.
That's a good one.
Yes, sir. Those will go away to one of you. Just make sure you hit that like button or leave a comment just so that I know you are here. And make sure you follow the podcast on whatever platform you are on. We are live twice a week talking fantasy baseball, doing our thing.
Where are the terms?
I know this one's taking a while. This must have been a pretty big haul if this is really taking this long. But while we wait for that, let's get into what the actual episode was supposed to be about. Dylan's TGFBI draft has finally finished, folks. God. It has only been like 2
all marathon, no sprint,
goddamn weeks.
God.
It's finally over. Mine's been over for over a week right now. And we figured what
Crazy.
better thing to talk about than I kind of want to dive in and take a peek at Dylan's draft, see what he did. And then we were going to talk about our strategy later on in drafts, guys that we targeted, guys we looked for, guys we picked. It is a 15-team, 30-round draft. So by the end of it, you are 450 picks deep. So you're really getting into the weeds there. And so we're here to help you guys kind of figure out who to look at, who to not look at, all that kind of good stuff. So let's just get right to it. Dylan, how are you feeling about your TGFBI draft right now?
I feel great about it. I'm not going to lie. But then I was actually a little bit surprised that Fantasy Pros also gave you the post grade, or the post draft grade rather. Man, they roasted me and gave me a 76 C grade, strength home runs, which I'm not too surprised by. I got a lot of guys I feel like that can push 20 steals, so I thought that was definitely going to be a strength. Weaknesses, I really only got one top line guy. I got Pete Fairbanks. I'm scrapping for saves, no doubt about it. That's one of my weaknesses. Another one is ERA and also WHIP. I understand those a little bit. It was because I went with some youth at the middle to late rounds for my pitching. That's going to happen, but I'll take the upside and the ceiling on those guys over the veterans we know enough about. I'll take the upside at this point. And Fantasy Pros, they're not going to give you a fantastic grade because they don't know too much about the rookies either. It's tough to project them. In my mind, I just think it's more fun to go with those guys too, to watch them progress through the season. So overall, I actually do feel pretty good about it. I went with a lot of youth, a lot of upside, 2020 guys, and guys are going to get a lot of strikeouts on my team too.
I like that you targeted so many guys with 2020 potential, because that's another thing that can't be overstated enough. You want to kind of key in on some guys that are heavy in specific spots, like me, for example. Judge is coming back to bite me in the ass as my first round pick, but early on I went home run heavy with Aaron Judge, Pete Alonso.
Soto at 9 is feeling like an absolute robbery too.
Yeah, like you nailed that. But then getting those guys later that can give you both home runs and steals, like a Bryson Stott, like a Lane Thomas, like guys like that are a good way to round out your team later on, like you did without sacrificing in a specific area.
I actually went with Giloff over Stott, if I recall. I did that.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
My bad. I went with Stott. Yeah, I went with Stott. You went with Giloff. I love Giloff this year.
I do too.
Coming off of a year that he kind of caught people a little bit by surprise. But yeah, the 2020 upside is real. The dude tears the cover off the ball, which is crazy. So I like him coming up for this year.
Too. Looks good.
As far as your draft goes, did you have a certain point in your draft where you kind of started to go a little pitcher heavy anywhere? Like, did you go on a little pitcher run at some point?
That's when I went. That's when I picked my pitchers. I went on pitcher runs because there were so many bats that I liked throughout the draft. I just wanted to really make sure I got them. But then that also means you got to lock up some pitchers too. So early on, I went Skubal in the 4th. Then I went Steele in the 6th, Fairbanks in the 7th. That was one of my pitcher runs. Let's see here. Pepois down there, Kyle Harrison, Mackenzie Gore, Paul Skeens. Like, I went on a little bit of a pitcher run in the middle rounds, late rounds. But I just went with a bunch of upside and guys that can get Ks. Pepo. Is it Pepo or Pepois? I'm sorry. It looks like such a French name.
It's Pepio.
Oh, I was way off.
Pepio.
Man, Pepio.
Hey, you know what? I was letting you own it though. I was letting you go with it. Like
I knew it wasn't right when it came out, but I had to double check. Pepio. Okay, I got it now.
I was wondering. I was like, I wonder if he's gonna come back to that, or if we're just gonna.
I knew it. It looked nah. I'm gonna say a name and I'm gonna roll with it until I'm corrected or correct myself. There it is. Got it.
So you said you took Fairbanks. How did you address closers in a league this deep? Because for reference, I know I mentioned that it's a 15 team 30 round draft, and the overall for TGFBI this year there's 450 teams. So all of us are competing within our 15 team leagues and drafting within our 15 team leagues, but then we're also competing overall against another 418 besides us people in this draft. So you kind of got to have a little balance of everything here and there.
Yeah.
So how did you address saves outside of just taking Fairbanks?
Well, in my draft especially, and I understand it, these guys love closers, and they were going a little bit earlier than what I was comfortable taking them for, because I think you can buy saves a little bit later. I might have waited a little too late. I got my second closer in round 21 with Justin Lawrence. It's kind of a crapshoot down there in Colorado, and obviously not a pitcher friendly park. It's a place where you can get a lot of blown saves. Just looking on Fangraphs, he was near the top who was left on projected saves. Went with him, and then another type of guys. I was just looking at the projected saves at the who I had left, honestly, who I had to choose from. That's the way I filled it up. So saves being a weakness is not a surprise, but that's kind of how I built my team. Everybody was picking closers a little bit earlier. I was filling it with bats instead.
Hey, I mean, you went the Uncle Ted method. I feel it. We all kind of subscribe to that method a little bit. Uncle Ted asked if anyone was playing in the main event. He needs a co-manager to win it all with me. Uncle Ted, I would, but unfortunately, Washington sucks. So they consider that online gambling out here, which we are not allowed to do unless you are me and you use some very specific offshore gambling website. But that doesn't get me any closer to doing the main event. I wish I could. I'm going to be rooting you on, Ted. I kind of handled saves.
You and more. Yeah, I mean, you got Lang. He's a guy that's solidified at least.
My thought process was, essentially that. Like I took Fairbanks just like you did, because Fairbanks was kind of towards the end of my closer, like my 1-1 closers, top tier closers, whatever you want to consider it. And then Lang I had kind of in the second tier, but I liked his save upside. If you guys have been following the podcast at all, I seem to have a weird obsession with the Detroit Tigers this year. I think they're going to win more games than people think. And Lang could potentially be in line for 30 to 35 saves. I don't necessarily like his ratios. Oh, my God, Jackson Jobe is so good. Did you see the video on Twitter today of his sliders from behind home plate? Frisbees, dude. Like, it's insane. And he's pumping 101 or whatever it was.
Yeah, he's pumping.
Dude, oh, my. That's crazy, man. Like, I'm tempted to add. He didn't get drafted in my TGFBI league. I'm tempted to pick him up as soon as I can. He's going to be up at some point this year. I took Lang. I think Lang's going to mess with my ratios slightly. I think Lang's going to be closer to like a 3.5 ERA closer, 3.8 ERA. And I think he's going to have a whip, probably 1.2, 1.25. Okay, strikeouts. I really just took him specifically for saves, just because I wanted a guy that was going to get another 30 saves for me. Saves can be one of the trickiest things to kind of figure out in this league, because last year I punted saves fully and I waited till like the 12th round to take my first closer. It did not work out. I think I might have set a record for fewest saves in TGFBI history.
There you go.
Wasn't about to let that happen this year. But let's get into the little bit deeper leagues now. Let's say, round 15 would be the halfway point. So when it hit round 15, who did you take in that spot in the 15th round?
That was Young Ho Lee for me. I was hyped about that pick. I don't know how he was still hovering around in round 15. I was super pumped about that. And then I was also really excited. It was a reach at the time, but I think people are going to be mad they didn't take him earlier in hindsight. And then I wrapped back around with Henry Davis.
Dude, I lost you for a second. You'll come back in a second. There you are.
There we go.
There you are. What up, Dylan? You're good. But Henry Davis, you came back around and you took Henry Davis.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about the Henry Davis pick?
Well, like I don't know when he'll gain catcher eligibility here. Hopefully soon. But him and Logan O'Hoppe, like I am so excited for those two being my catchers. There's so much upside there, and O'Hoppe coming back healthy. There's so much home run potential there too. And then who else do I got? And then Lane Thomas in my outfield, Jazz, Soto. Like we're chilling out there. Jake Fraley was a late guy, got in the 20th. Willie Castro with outfield and infield versatility. Colton Cowser I picked up in the 28th. I got a lot of depth in the outfield.
Dude, your outfield is nuts. Like I was looking at that earlier. The fact that you have so many well-rounded guys, Soto, right. Jazz Chisholm, like you found a way to have a mix of well-rounded guys while also having so much upside. Jazz Chisholm has maybe the most upside in baseball, up there with like Ellie De La Cruz, O'Neal Cruz now, who just hit another home run, by the way. I think the man still has more home runs than strikeouts.
O'Neal Cruz is the one. Yeah, if I had to pick one or the other, I'd take O'Neal. Mm-hmm. I'm taking O'Neal.
Same. Although I did see that Ellie made some mechanical changes to his swing that he's kind of messing around with this spring, which is helping. So if that sticks and he can find a way to hit lefties as a right-hander, look out. Yeah. Ellie could be okay. Like I could back off of my please don't draft Ellie stance. For now, I'm still on it, but I like it. And then you went with Jake Fraley. I want to point out Jake Fraley. What round did you get Jake Fraley in?
Where was he here? Round 20.
Okay. So I considered taking Fraley. I've taken him in a few drafts. I didn't take him in TGFBI. He is one of the biggest beneficiaries of Noelvi Marte being an absolute idiot.
Yeah, bummer.
Because they had such a log jam overall that it was going to end up pushing Spencer Steer into the outfield more, which was going to cut into like a Jake Fraley and his playing time and his at-bats this year. But now that Noelvi Marte is not there, Fraley can have more outfield time because Spencer Steer can spend more time playing first base. And Jake Fraley, the Mariner legend, just came off of a 15 home run, 21 stolen base performance where he hit 256 last year in just 111 games. And only with a 380 plate appearances, give him 500 this year. And that's a 2025, 2030 output there. And man, the Mariners let him go for fucking nothing too, which is crazy. The sweet hair, the sweet swing. Jake Fraley is somebody that I think everybody should be paying attention to later on in these drafts, especially like you said, 20th round is nuts. That is way too much potential to still be available in the 20th round. So Jake Fraley is somebody that people need to be keeping an eye on because I don't think the Noelvi Marte news has quite caught up to his ADP yet. So you can still get him for a little bit of a steal.
Yeah, these guys did not do a great job rounding off their outfields either. I'm just going over it. Man, so I'm just not everybody, but there's a couple teams out there. It's like, oh yeah, what are we doing?
Which, I mean, to be fair, that's nice for you because
I mean, there's everything failed at me.
Yeah, and they're gonna be the ones having to spend fab dollars on outfield, especially early on, more than likely. And your outfield is stacked. You're chilling. You don't got to worry about outfield. You don't got to worry about any of that. You can save your fab for other easier to pick up positions than outfield. It'll make your life a little easier for, I mean, at least the first half of the year. But you also mentioned Henry Davis.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about instituting a rule on this podcast where we just have to talk about Henry Davis at least once per episode. I don't think, dude, he might be, man. It feels like he's kind of everybody's guy at this point, but I'm
you were on it first.
Bro, he's so good. I mean, former #1 overall pick. He has been going to Driveline. I think this was his second year. He made some great adjustments to his swing, and he now has what I consider the sweetest right-handed swing in baseball. Prior to that, for me, it was Mitch Haniger, maybe the most underrated right-handed home run swing ever. I love Henry Davis's two-handed like just swinging a
How
fucking
Mitch
club out
rolls on
there.
his ankle like that. I don't understand it.
It's crazy. And he does like an Adrian Beltre sometimes, almost going all the way down to
Yeah.
one knee and still jacking it 400 feet. Like it's crazy how he's able to do that. But I think I like Henry Davis's swing better. Just there's something about a two-handed swing. You don't see a lot of them anymore. Everybody loves the one-handed follow through. You can pimp it easier at the end when you hit it 500 feet. But Henry Davis, like we've got the slow-mo one up on like our TikTok and YouTube shorts and all that right now. It's the slow-mo Henry Davis two-handed swing where he just freezes on his follow-through and watches the ball sail away.
Yeah, those
God,
one-handed finishes, those tear up your shoulders after some time. It's kind of been a point.
Ted says Trout has the prettiest right-handed swing of all
That's
time.
not bad.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I like Mike Trout, but I don't know.
I like
Henry Davis is up there.
Here we go. Go Cougs. Sorry.
That's my brother. Shout out, Alex. I should have known that was coming. Any thoughts on Kendall George? Alex, I have absolutely no thoughts on Kendall George right now. I know he plays for the Dodgers and he's super young.
Dodgers, yeah, single A guy. I had to look him
high
up.
batting average, not bad. One plate appearance in spring training this year. He struck out, so garbage. Just kidding. I would never put that into the ether like that. He might be good. Only time will tell. You must have pulled a card of his or something. To the point of Henry Davis getting catcher eligibility, he won't start the year with it, but it seems like he's going to start catcher day one. I think is Grandal hurt? I think I heard Jasmine Grandal.
Oh, okay. Hurt. I don't know. Wow. Yeah, I thought he was their opening day catcher for sure.
Yeah, so I think he should have catcher eligibility by the end of April, if I had to guess. Yeah. So, and if that's the case, that's gonna be crazy.
I forgot to mention Reese Olson too when we're on our little Tigers tangent there. That's Ted's guy. He's been all over him.
Yes, he has. And Reese Olson has made some great adjustments this year too. He's missing a lot of bats in spring training.
He looks nice.
And I love to see it. There's just something about that Tigers team, dude. Reese Olson looks good. Jackson Jobe.
Except for Javi might just kill everything. Javi just might kill everything.
I think I saw something. He swung it like 54% in the sliders out of the zone last year or something like that. That's insane. The fact that he was an all-star at one point,
ridiculous.
Wild. How the mighty have fallen. But let's dive a little deeper into your draft here, Dylan. I see that you did take Kyle Harrison.
Going back up into it. Yeah.
I love me some Kyle Harrison. Sweet lefty out there in San Francisco, former top prospect. Yep. What are you feeling like the upside for like a Kyle Harrison is this year?
Well, there wasn't much on the board and many options for me to actually go with here. So it was kind of de facto Kyle Harrison, but for the same reasons I was excited to add him as former top prospect of the Giants. I love my left-handed pitchers. And again, it's kind of the same thing with Dylan Cease too. AT&T Park, another pitcher-friendly park. He's going to be the number 2 guy behind Logan Webb when the season opens up. So we'll see. I think there's some real upside with him. Like I said, later in the draft, I would take him over a lot of these guys. I would take him over a Michael Wacha just because I want to see if Kyle Harrison has a high ceiling. That's really it. Yeah. Or Lance Lynn, you know.
Lance Lynn has a lot of strikeout upside. I think his ERA and WHIP might hurt you a little bit, but the strikeout upside with the Lance Lynn is there. And Kyle Harrison is, I mean, he's really goddamn good. He's got an elite fastball. Last year, it had a fly ball rate of 53%. Doesn't give up. I mean, he's a fly ball pitcher, but you could be a fly ball pitcher in, was it Oracle Park out there now?
Oh, it's not AT&T. You're right. It's AT&T the same way it's Safeco.
Oh yeah. It would just forever be that. I actually almost called T-Mobile Safeco at the beginning of this when we were talking about Petco Park.
It's Safeco, guys.
It'll always be Safeco. My parents have this sweet picture at their house that my mom took at, I think it was at the 2001 All-Star game. when it was in Seattle, we went to it, and my mom took like this sweet picture of the Safeco Field sign, and she had it framed, and it's been up in their living room forever. The only thing I wish Kyle Harrison would do a little more is use that changeup slightly more. He's a 61% fastball guy, which can be effective, but it does have a cap to how effective it can be. You need to eventually have the ability to use some other pitches to get some outs. But that fastball rate, that fastball is awesome. Had a 182 average against, which was the 10th best in baseball. Gave up just a 22% hard contact rate, and it had 8.1 inches of movement. The thing was moving, and it's got some speed to it too. He throws about 94 miles an hour. He is a great later round pick. Keep referencing Uncle Ted today, but Uncle Ted has been banging Harrison drum for a minute.
I want to test his knowledge at the very end of this deal. I want to test him or get his insight on my last two picks. I want to see.
I'm here for it. Let's move on to. You drafted Colton Cowser. Excellent. We talked about Colton Cowser on the last episode. We talked about Willie Castro just a little bit ago. The one I wanted to ask you about, I was getting asked about him. I did a Reddit AMA today over on the Fantasy Baseball Reddit page. I did it for Fantasy Pros. You guys can go check that out. It's still up there. I'll answer some more questions tonight when I get all settled down, like probably while I'm editing the audio for this and everything. But Paul Skeens, when do you think Paul Skeens may make his debut for the Pirates this season?
That's a tough one. I want to be optimistic and give him like the Logan Gilbert timeline when he came up. That's what I want to see, get him a couple starts down in AAA, build the stamina up a little bit, get more comfortable. But I've also seen some things that he might also go into the bullpen later into the season to just kind of preserve I don't know if that's true or holds any weight. But who knows? Like, I think it's kind of rolling the dice. You don't know when he's going to get called up. They may protect him, but what's the point of protecting a guy in the minors when he's guy's already in his prime, ready to go? Pirates have a decent enough lineup. I don't see the point in wasting innings for him, at least in the minors. He's already got the 101, 102 fastball. Like, he was bred at LSU to come in and start every 5 days. I don't really see the point in wasting him in the minors for too long.
Yeah, get him up there now, especially. Pittsburgh.
It's not the best team, but they're not, but they're not bad. I don't think Pittsburgh's a bad team.
They're like a 75, 80 win team, and they're not pumping out just these elite arms. They got Mitch Keller,
he's a 2 or 3.
He's okay.
Right. He's that
every year you hope he's going to be better. Then they got Skeens, and they don't have really a ton of upside at the starting pitching position. So it's not hurting anybody by getting them in there. What you got from me, Dell?
I was about to say, my Twitter is buffering right now, but it looks like the terms came out for Cease finally.
Oh, let's see. Live update for those of you here. Yeah. Breaking news: Dylan Cease traded to the San Diego Padres. We covered that at the beginning of the episode.
Drew Thorpe and what's the other name? There's one more name here. That was the big
Jairo Iriarte.
Yeah, Jairo. Yep.
That's it. Drew Thorpe's cool, but that's
there. You go. Didn't seem like were the rain? Do you think the Rangers just weren't willing to part with Leiter yet?
I think that may play into it a little bit, and I'm feeling like Chicago may have just been like, all right, fuck it. Excuse my language. Sorry for cussing. I swear to God, you guys, I'm trying to be better.
Sorry for cussing. Family friendly here.
But I feel like it might have just come down to the point where they're like, all right, we'll just take what we can get now.
Yeah.
Drew Thorpe's not bad. Don't get me wrong. He does have a lot of upside. I believe that he came over in the Soto trade. I could be completely wrong, but I swear Thorpe just came over from New York in the Juan Soto deal. Sorry, I'm like really confused because I thought they were going to want more. Seattle offered more to the Chicago White Sox for Dylan Cease than what they
About
just
a
got in
month,
return.
month
So they
and a half
already
ago,
had,
if that.
yeah, they already had a better deal on the table. So it's odd, but I mean, Thorpe's got a great changeup. Okay, fastball, good slider, great command, which you like to see. Last year in the minors, pitched 30 innings, 13 K9 with a 1.4 walks per 9 and a 1.48 ERA. The dude's got good stuff. He's just not. I don't know. He's a top 100 prospect.
I'd rather see Cease in the rotation
Decent
than
upside.
Bryce.
Yeah, for real. Because I mean, I'm baffled. I do think that this is going to propel Drew Thorpe to 100% guaranteed rotation spot in 2024. Because who the hell else is pitching for the Chicago White Sox? Prelander Baroa was supposed to be in that rotation for the White Sox this year, and he just hurt his arm, so he's not going to be. They traded away
that right?
Cease.
He was a projected starter with them. Okay, I thought they were moving him or keeping him into the bullpen. Okay.
No, they were planning on stretching him out, and now he's hurt. Cease is gone. Other guy, Michael Kopech, sucks. Like they just don't have a good starting rotation at all. And I'm wondering if this is the next domino in them just doing a complete fire sale and Luis Robert Jr. and Eloy being gone now. Because what's the point of having those guys on the roster if you're just going to sell everything off? Why have $100 million outfielder, $200 million outfielder? It's like that meme where you see like the trailer park with the Bugatti parked right next door to it.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like now. Luis Robert Jr. being on that team, like it just makes no sense. But yeah, Drew Thorpe, I think now becomes a very interesting guy for 2024. I'm gonna have to see if he's projected to start the beginning of the year, like straight up. Because if he is, I like him in Chicago. He may not get the most run support, but he's got he's got like a 2 rough math, like a 2.2 ERA in the minors across 23 starts and 139 innings. The dude misses a lot of bats. There's good strikeout upside there. He had a 35.5% K- walk rate last year, 25% K- walk rate in high A as well. So yeah, I like Drew Thorpe. I was expecting a lot more in return. Uncle Ted says Jake Eater will be back and dominate. And I'm going to be honest, he was in my DMs. Pause. We were talking about it a couple weeks ago, and he mentioned Jake Eater, and that becomes a very interesting name because now, I mean, it's wide open for him in Chicago to take over that spot there. So, and he said, I feel like the White Sox could have walked away with Spencer Jones in a minimum. Absolutely. I mean, I think we offered Brian Wu plus another top prospect, or Seattle offered Brian Wu plus another top prospect for
just a timing thing, man. That's what it comes down to. Like, timing is sometimes that's really it.
Makes the last
had the Mariners still had that deal on the table today rather than month and a half ago, whatever it was, no doubt the White Sox are pulling the trigger on that Mariners package instead, I would think.
I agree. But another thing I agree on is the fact that all of you guys that are here hanging out right now are awesome. If you were in the live, remember, like or comment on this, and you will be entered to win a couple of sports cards headed your way. Evan Carter, Rookie Mojo, and then Oswaldo Cabrera, Green Wave Rookie. If you're listening to this on the podcast feed, shout out you guys for once again helping us make it back into the top 100 rankings for Apple Podcast. And just, if you guys could hit the auto download button, that would be amazing. That goes a long way to helping us. There's so much going on right now. For those of you listening to the podcast feed, we have 233 people watching our live feed right now.
Hey, now.
The episode before this, we had 40. And like on Monday, we had 40 people in here watching us. And it was like, damn, that was a lot of people. We got 234 right now. So it's going crazy. Quantum Catastrophe says, hey, I got something to say. Say it loud and say it proud, my man. What's up?
Say it with your chest.
I said that like I was going to actually listen to him say it to me in my ears. I still got to read it off the screen for everybody else. But while he's saying what he's got to say, I would just like to throw out there that we did get our first review on Apple Podcast, and we are going to read every review that you guys leave us on Apple Podcast, good or bad. We would really prefer that they be of the good variety. If you guys leave us a 5-star rating review, it helps. I'm going to let him finish that thought as he goes. Our review, it is from Grambo22. The points. Thank you guys so much for covering points leagues even a little. I can never find anything to help for my draft. Much appreciated. If you guys have been around for a minute with this podcast now, you know we are trying actively to put out as much points league content as possible.
That's okay. It's a smart person's game anyways. It's not meant for everybody.
A weekly points league article coming out for Pitcher List starting once the season opens up, which I'm excited as hell to fire that off. And Quantum Catastrophe said he doesn't like baseball. He went to a baseball game when he was a kid and it's boring.
It's not meant for everybody. It's meant for smart people, though.
Yeah. Try a game now that they sped the games up. It's a lot more fun. But this is a long-winded way to say that we love you guys. Hit that that subscribe. Download the episodes. Listen to us weekly. We put out episodes twice a week from now until infinity. And until then, we will catch you guys next time.